A wire harness, I have a lot of people all the time, when they say I'm in the wire harness industry, no clue, and I had no clue. So I just brought a couple of little samples to show what I'm even talking about. So this particular sample is a small, I'm going to say a small wire harness. It has connectors and cable and little terminals that we put on that plug into these connectors. And then what would happen with this is it would go, this particular one would go into maybe a headlamp assembly of a vehicle, automotive. So we supply this to the automotive industry. And harnesses can range from one circuit to several hundred. So this one's just a little, it's all coiled up, so it's hard to see, but this is maybe something bigger, right? That might go into maybe a tractor. It has bigger connectors. It's covered in conduit, so you can't really see what's inside it. But if you were to look, it'd be a bunch of cables, same as that. But this is covered because it's going to be probably in the exterior of the vehicle, like under the hood, and so you don't want it to get any kind of corrosion, or you don't want it to get, all the water. This keeps the water out, that sort of thing. But so what we do is, I mean, you will have a person that will come over after you buy the cable, and then you put the terminals on, and there's a machine that does that if there's high enough volume. If there's not high enough volume, then you might have a person that stands at a press and hits a pedal and puts the terminal on, and then a person, so then that makes the wire, right? It'll have a terminal on one end and a terminal on the other end. Now you have this wire. So then a person goes and takes one wire like that and walks over to an assembly fixture, plugs it into a connector, routes the wire around the board, plugs it into another connector. And what you end up with when you're all done with all of those different processes, and it probably sounds a little easier than what's really happening out there, but fundamentally, that's the basis of a wire harness. And what it'll do then, like I said, is it's going to power. So I build harnesses for the school bus industry. So that means I'm going to take some power from the battery somehow, and I'm going to route it through that bus or through the tractor or through, whatever a vehicle may be. And you're gonna get the radio, and you're gonna have lights, and you're gonna have the HVAC climate control. You'll be able to turn your heater on and have a heated seat and those sorts of things. I also do not just automotive and con ag and some military harnesses as well. But I also have one particular, I have one medical customer. I have another customer that does a lot of pool equipment, so pool heaters and things like that. So what's interesting for me is when I worked for General Motors, I was just involved in the automotive industry, and it was great and it was exciting, and I worked in different, after a while my part of the wiring portion of General Motors got divested, and so then we got to start working with other customers as well, not just GM, which I am a big advocate of GM. But so that was fun. And then so yeah, we're in all different products. So it's exciting because it's not the same thing all the time. And I think Allison shares that from what I'm understanding. And this is the first time I'm hearing about Allison's business. So it's very interesting for me to hear that her experience, I think, is very similar to mine, where it's always different customers, it's a different need. Some it's a very short term, we need it fast. Others it's well, we've got 5 years, so take your time, but when we need it, make sure it's right, and it's very exciting. I never would have thought that I'd be remotely interested in this kind of business, but I love it.